This is my ultimate PRS setup, and I'm super excited to talk about it and super excited to talk about this year and things that we'll be doing. But before we get into the nuts and bolts of this, we do have a couple of disclaimers we got to get to. One, we do have some new affiliate links down in the description and some coupon codes. So if you're looking to support the channel, you're looking to see more content like the content I did with Joe and some other instructors, some other videos in the future, use those coupon codes, use those links, helps the channel out, helps me out, helps me to put out this content for you guys. The second disclaimer is that the stock, action, and optic were all sent by the respective companies, and I just want to let that be known up front so there's no question about it as we get later into the video. But with all that out of the way, let's get into this build. So really quick, if you missed the video I did on my goals for this year, check out this video up here, talk about kind of things I'm focused on for 2025. But I was talking with Mike Russo, aka Mad Dog Gunner. I'll link him right here. Go follow him. Excellent gas gun shooter, and is going to be getting more into PRS and some instruction and some other things in the coming year. But I was talking with him at SHOT Show. One of the things he talked about was last year was his first year in PRS, and he said it was a benchmark year for him, just to see where he was at, just to see what he had, where he was capable of shooting at, and then to build from there. And so going into this year, his goal is to continue to build on that until he's in the top 10, top 5% of shooters, and that's what he's doing this year. So for me, that's kind of my goal this year, is a benchmark year in PRS. Now, I've talked about there's some other disciplines of shooting I want to get into, some other disciplines of shooting I want to get back to this year. So I'll be spread across the board, but as far as PRS goes, it is a benchmark year for me. I want to see where I'm at. I want to see, I don't know what I don't know. So I need to see the things that I need to learn, the things I need to improve upon. And I'm going to be talking with a lot of other shooters. I've already been doing that behind the scenes. So as some of you know, this stock chassis has been sitting up on the shelf for quite a while last year. And part of the reason was acquiring parts and ammo and things like that. But also a lot of it was me just asking a lot of questions to shooters who are much better than me or who know more than me in this particular game. So that's why it's taken me a while to get to this point. But 2025 is the year I'm going to dive into PRS, and this is the build I'll be doing it with. With all that out of the way, let's get into the what and why of this. Now, I'm going to try to cover everything as best I can. I'm sure I'll probably forget some things, so if you have questions about anything in this build, leave in the comments down below. So the way this whole build started was Zermatt reached out, and they have this hybrid chassis stock that they wanted me to try out, and they're like, hey, we'd love to get your feedback on it and see what your thoughts are. And I was like, cool. I was like, but if I do this, I want to make the ultimate PRS rig for myself and leave nothing on the table, and that's where this all started. So we'll start there with the chassis stock. Now, it is kind of like a hybrid chassis stock. One of the things, and I'm gonna address the elephant in the room, Joe does not like the way this looks. He doesn't like the faux wood. He doesn't like the color combo. I personally love it. I think it looks phenomenal. I love the way this came out. I love the way the wood grain looks with the silver or the gray. It's kind of like a gunmetal. Love the way it looks. And what it reminds me of is, hold on. All right. So this is actually my grandfather's 22. It's an old Ruger 22 that was passed down, and my father gave it to me. And this stock chassis reminds me of this, which is why I think I have such a nostalgia feel about it and why I enjoy and love it so much. So what they've done is they put these faux wood inserts into the stock or the chassis, and it's to help dampen it. It has some function to it, and they talk more about it in the tech side of it. But I like it. I like the way it looks. There's some other features that I like about it is the integrated arc rail on the bottom. I did put weights inside of it, and then you have the option to put weights in the rear, and I did do that from the get-go. You can lengthen your length of pull. You have an adjustable height of comb here. You can also adjust your mag release to make sure your mags are seating properly based on the mag and the action that you're using. So all great features. One thing that I'm not crazy about is the grip, and the only thing I don't like about it is it's really wide. So the way that I like to index my finger on the trigger, and Joe talks about this in the video that we did on precision rifle setup, so you can go check that out. But the way that I like to index this finger, the grip puts it too far out, and I'd rather it be a little bit thinner just so I can be where I'd like to be. So I'm going to leave it. I'm going to try it for a little bit just to see, but I talked to them at SHOT Show as well, and they said that I can just shave this down with a Dremel or some sandpaper. So if I find that it's obstructing too much of where I want to be indexing on the trigger, then I will trim that down. That's the only really complaint I have about it so far. Everything else has been really nice. The integrated bag stop here, or barricade stop, I personally, I would like it to be maybe a little bit more like a 90 degree and to be a little bit further down. That's a personal preference, not anything against the design they have. It works really well. It just has to do with the way that I approach barricades and the way that I shoot. Doesn't mean that my way is right, so we'll try it and see how it goes. One other thing that I do really like about this stock is the ergonomics of this back piece right here. So even though I don't like the grip width, I do like this angle here just because I'm so used to shooting gas gun that this feels more natural to me, and I'm able to lay my thumb over or grip around like I would on a gas gun, and I personally prefer that. I don't like going thumb over this side. It just doesn't feel natural to me. It doesn't feel right, and it makes it easier for me to switch back and forth between gas gun and bolt gun. So that is one thing I really like. Moving on from there, we have the Action, which is again going to be the Zermatt Action. This is their TL3 Action. It is a short action. Basically, I told them what I wanted to do, and then they spec'd it out for me. You have a ton of options on their website. You can see what you like. Because I'm new-ish to bolt guns, I don't have a lot to compare it to other than the Seekins. And it being a custom action, I can tell you it is super nice so far. I've just been dry firing it with a lot, but so far it's been great. We'll have some live fire down the road, and we'll go through the whole road to PRS. Attached to it, we have a Proof Research barrel. This is their competition stainless barrel. It is in 6-dasher. I know it's a question a lot of people have been asking is what caliber. So we'll be shooting 6-dasher. We'll talk more about that in a bit. At the end of it, we are running the Chad, the Without Warning. This is their new brake, their new version of their tuner brake, the Chad. Gonna try it out, gonna see how we like it. I've been spoiled by shooting suppressed. So this may end up coming off, and I may end up putting a KGM, one of their titanium precision cans on there. We'll see how it goes. I'm gonna try out another brake as well, just to get some data points and put that in there. And again, we'll talk about this in future videos. On the Action, we do have a 20 MOA rail. And then on that, we are running a Night Force, their Unimount, along with the Night Force Attacker 7-35 with the Mil XT reticle. So a couple questions I know I'm gonna get is why the Unimount? One, it just makes it easier if I wanna take this off and put it on a different bolt gun or put it on a gas gun, like a large frame, I can do that. I wanted to go 7-35 because, again, check out the video I did with Bruiser on optic range, but I kind of want to live around that 25 power. And for me, using the 7-35, backing it down to 25 power is kind of a sweet spot and in the really nice range of the glass clarity. So that's why I went 7-35 versus something else like the 5-25 or the 4-20 or some other options they have out there. Really quick, I want to hop in here and answer a question that I saw on Instagram. I felt like this was a good spot to put it in, but it's about why I chose the Attacker line over some other optic or some other brand. And the main three reasons, and I covered this in the video about the 4-16, but the main three reasons for me are going to be image quality, reticle, and durability. So image quality, the color, the contrast, and then the sharpness of the image are the main three things. And then when it comes to the reticle, the Mil XT is my favorite reticle currently on the market. And it makes it super easy for me to be able to switch from gas gun to bolt gun. So going back and forth between those two as I shoot different matches and seeing the same reticle, the same images in both optics is really beneficial for me. It just makes it easier for me training wise. And then the third thing being durability. The reason I love the Attacker line over some other options on the market is durability. I don't have to worry about whether or not my optic is going to break or if it is broken or if there's some issue with it. It's just one less thing I have to worry and stress about. I have enough things I have to worry about with myself and trying to develop the skill versus having to think about equipment as well. So that is the main reason I choose the Attacker line over some other options on the market. And that comes down to my preferences and the things that I like and the way that I shoot and the things that I do. But I felt like there was a good spot to put that in. So back to this. Attached up front, we have the, this is the Coing, I always forget, I need to ask them. They need a pronunciation guide is what they need. Anyways, they're the same people who make the acro mounts for the other all my other attackers. They make those. This is their diving board they've made. This is a prototype. So this is one of the early versions. I don't believe this is out yet, but we're testing this to see because there will probably be something mounted on here that we will be using in a different style of match in the future, which again, more content on that down the road. But the big difference between this and the Night Force one is you notice how much lower it sits. So if you're running something taller, like the Vortex laser rangefinder up here, it doesn't sit so high up. It's a little bit lower, a little bit more sleek. And with the new SIG, if the SIG sits on there, it's low enough to where it's not, you know, a big obstruction above the gun, but it's also not so low that you can't see it. Also got the PRS Solutions, their little data card on here, along with the MDT Syndit level. Now I know they have the new version of the Syndit level, but I'll probably continue to use this one. And one question I'll probably get is why do I have it mounted so far forward? Why do I have both these mounted as far forward as I do? And it's something I've been kind of toying with in dry fire with my gas gun is with everything mounted further back, it obstructs my parallax and it kind of gets in the way when I go to adjust it. So I've moved everything forward to make it easier so I can see parallax, see my level, and then see the data card all in one quick look, and it just makes it easier for me. And so I like it so far. No complaints about it yet. We'll try it in a match and see how it goes, see if it runs in any barricades or any issues there. The trigger that I'm using is going to be the Trigger Tec single stage. This is their diamond trigger, adjustable. I don't run my triggers super light. I actually prefer heavier triggers simply because it allows me to prep on them more, and I'm so used to shooting two stage. And I was actually listening to a video from Philip Vallejo, and he was talking about how he switched over to two stages in his bolt guns as well. So I may end up doing that down the road, but right now this is a single stage, and I may lighten a little bit. We'll see as I shoot and just see if I like it more or less. We'll find out. But because I'm so used to shooting two stages, I may do that. I use the Pro Curve because I like the flat face. And again, this goes back to talking about what Bruiser mentioned in his video, but one of the things I like to do is index off of the side of that. And if you have the traditional tapered trigger, it doesn't allow you to do that the same way. This face is a little bit wider and it just feels better. So that's why I like the Pro Curve from Trigger Tec. And then bipod. So last thing is bipod that I know that people are gonna ask about. I am using the MDT. I'm using a single pull. And the reason is I don't need much more elevation than that. We don't have a lot of elevation change here in Texas. And from most of the PRS matches I've seen from local buddies and guys around the area, I don't really need a double pull or triple pull for these type of matches. If I find that I do, so be it. I'll just, be at a disadvantage on that stage. And again, it's one of those learning things. But for now, using the single pull, and then I did upgrade it with the PRS manufacturing pod knobs, and I use their ones on the back as well, little caps. They're just bigger, so it makes it easier to actuate. And yeah. So check those out. I'll leave a link down below for them. The last gear question I'm probably gonna get is ammo. What ammo am I using? Am I reloading? Am I gonna do my own load development? No, I don't have time for that. Nor do I have a desire to invest in what it takes to load your own ammo. So because there is no factory dasher ammo, I'll be using Eagle Eye ammo. I have seen the results that Ryder's been getting, albeit he's using 6.5. He's still getting sub MOA, like half MOA with a pre-fit barrel and their ammo. It's really hard to beat that. And at that point, if I'm missing, it's not because of the ammo, it's not because of the barrel, it's because of me, it's because of inefficiency or bad trigger presses or something that I'm doing wrong. But I just don't have the desire to reload. So I will leave that up to them. And if I would recommend you doing the same if you don't want to get into reloading and having to deal with that. Thanks to Eli Ammo, I'll be getting some ammo from them, and I'll update results on that once I have some ammo in where I'm able to get this on range and show what we're able to do with a pre-fit barrel and their ammo. So I do want to make a few notes about setup. I already mentioned that the muzzle device will probably change. There will be another break that will go on there just to test and compare, and then there will likely be a suppressor on there to test and compare from KGM. Everything else will likely stay the same. A couple of changes I made since I did the build out portion of this video is I took all the weight out of the rear, and then I removed some of the weights from the front just to make it lighter. With all the weights in it and with all the weights on the front, it was sitting at a little over 26 pounds. Right now, as it sits, is roughly 22 pounds, like 22 and a half, I think, if I remember correctly. But the main thing was balancing for me is like, I wanted it to be a little bit lighter than what it was because I wanted to be able to move efficiently with it in and out of barricades, specifically cattle guards or ports. It being a longer gun than I'm used to, so I'm used to shooting a gas gun. It's a little bit shorter, and it's easier to move the gas gun. You can be a little bit sloppy with it because it's light. With this, I don't have that luxury, especially if it's 26 pounds. So I lightened it up, took about 4 pounds off of it, so we're now at about 22 and a half, and it's balanced fairly well. We'll fine tune it a bit, but it's in a position where I really like it. So if I can unlock this and show you guys kind of where we're at as far as balance goes. There we go. So it is balanced well. That is my balance point. And you may be wondering why that position for those of you who are new to PRS, and that is because that's about the middle of my bag. So that balance point lines up the middle of my bag. So that works well for me. So far, it's just been dry firing for me with this, just getting used to running a bolt, used to moving a heavier gun and a longer gun. So we'll see how this year goes. And I've got some training coming up with Don. He shoots 6 Dasher, and so I'm gonna pick his brain about reading wind and wind calls with Dasher and PRS in general and some other guys. So looking forward to that. Again, if you guys have questions about this setup or about PRS in general, leave in the comments down below so that way I can make future videos on it or answer it in future videos. But that is all I have in regards to the build, my ultimate PRS build. Again, if you guys have any questions, leave in the comments down below. Make sure to like and subscribe, karate chop that bell so you get notified every time I upload a video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Look at it. Would you just look at it?